That morning, they had no idea that what awaited them at the zoo would become such a memorable experience, forever altering their lives. Excited for Mandy's first zoo visit, they had prepared enthusiastically the night before. Mandy, a little girl with an extraordinary connection to animals, was about to embark on a new adventure. From a young age, she had a knack for calming their restless dog and was often surrounded by ducks at the park. Although they had frequently taken her to the petting zoo, this would be her first time in a proper zoo, elevating their usual animal outings. Nobody could have anticipated the remarkable event that would unfold, making headlines in the local newspaper. After about 30 minutes of exploring the zoo, Mandy and her parents were captivated by the sights and sounds. Mandy, still mastering full sentences, communicated her delight through gestures and expressions. Her eyes sparkled with wonder as she pointed, stared, and waved from her stroller, her smile wide with joy. The day was unfolding smoothly, but soon it took an unexpected turn. Mandy's parents, Connor and Andrea, had noticed other parents dealing with fussy children and felt fortunate that their daughter was calm. However, this sense of relief was short-lived when they reached the tiger enclosure. As they strolled along the glass wall of the enclosure, they admired the Bengal tigers, some resting and others exploring their habitat. "What magnificent creatures," Connor remarked to Andrea, who was busy ordering ice cream from a nearby stall. Andrea nodded with a smile, her focus not fully on the situation with the tigers. When Andrea returned with the ice cream, she was shocked to find the stroller empty. Panic set in as she asked Connor, "Where's our daughter?" Her voice was tinged with anxiety. Connor and Andrea began to search frantically. Mandy, who had just started walking with confidence, had never ventured off in an unfamiliar place. As Andrea's frustration grew, she demanded, "How could you lose sight of her?" But Connor was already searching for any sign of their adventurous child. Andrea inquired with the ice cream vendor, but he hadn't seen Mandy leave. They continued their search amid the crowd, but Mandy seemed to have vanished. Then they heard the astonished voices of a group of zoo visitors gathered near the tiger enclosure. The crowd was clustered tightly at the right corner of the enclosure, obscuring the view. Connor and Andrea pushed through to get a better look. There, at the glass wall, stood Mandy with her hands pressed against it. She was not alone. A large Bengal tiger had approached the glass and was mirroring Mandy's movements like a shadow. Mandy, seemingly aware of the tiger's attention, moved to the left and then to the right, and the tiger followed her every move. The onlookers were mesmerized, trying and failing to capture the tiger's attention with their own movements. The big cat was fixated solely on Mandy. Andrea watched in awe, torn between protecting her daughter and marveling at the spectacle. Just as she reached out to pick up Mandy, something extraordinary happened. Mandy pressed her hands firmly against the glass, and the tiger stopped its pacing, its gaze locked intently on her, poised to do something truly remarkable. The tiger, perched on its haunches, locked eyes with Mandy, its gaze unflinching. The crowd around them watched in silent fascination. Andrea, still intent on retrieving her daughter from the glass enclosure, paused, captivated by the scene unfolding before her. The tiger, eyes closed, gently placed its paw against the glass, eliciting gasps and murmurs of amazement from the onlookers. Mandy, enchanted by the tiger's display, pressed her head against the glass. In response, the majestic Bengal tiger executed a deep bow and emitted a soft purring sound. Tourists snapped photos, and Connor and Andrea were momentarily at a loss, unsure how to react. The crowd's enjoyment made it difficult for them to pull Mandy away. After a few minutes, they reluctantly moved their daughter, prompting a heart-wrenching, almost sorrowful sound from the tiger. It was a poignant moment, but Connor and Andrea didn't yet grasp its full significance. Unbeknownst to them, a man had observed the interaction and began trailing them discreetly. As Connor, Andrea, and Mandy continued their stroll through the park, savoring their ice cream and soaking up the sunny day, Connor suddenly felt an unsettling sensation. He glanced around, initially spotting only the usual crowd of visitors, all absorbed in their own activities. Despite the park's cheerful atmosphere, he couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. He dismissed it, thinking he was imagining things, but the sensation persisted. After a few more minutes, he felt the stare again and scanned their surroundings thoroughly. Amid the bustling families, one man stood out, his gaze fixed intently on Connor and his family. The man, holding newspapers, seemed focused solely on them, not the park's visitors. Connor mentioned his concern to Andrea, who dismissed it as paranoia. "He's probably just a vendor. Let's keep walking," she suggested. Still uneasy, Connor agreed to continue. They were nearing the tiger enclosure again, which had become Mandy's favorite. They parked a stroller, and as soon as Mandy was free, she toddled back to the glass. The tiger, having been asleep in the distance, sprang to life at the sight of Mandy. It raced to the glass, mirroring her movements once more, bowing deeply and purring. The intensity of the tiger's reaction to Mandy raised questions that were soon to be answered. The mysterious man appeared again, slowly approaching the family. Connor, now certain of the man's following, turned to Andrea. "See, he's been trailing us. I wasn't imagining it." Andrea, now convinced, quickly pulled Mandy close. The man stood directly in front of them. Connor, both angry and curious, demanded, "What's going on? Why are you following us? What do you want?" The man immediately began to explain. The man's stern expression softened. He had deliberately followed them for the past hour, waiting for the right moment to speak. The perfect opportunity had arrived now, in front of the Bengal tiger enclosure where their daughter had made such a profound impact. "I wanted to be certain that what I saw with your daughter and the tiger wasn't just a fluke," he began. Connor, sensing the man might have an ulterior motive, asked, "What exactly are you implying?" The man introduced himself. "I'm Andrew Larson, the owner of this zoo. Your daughter performed something extraordinary today. Koshi, our Bengal tiger, has been here for 6 months. Rescued from poachers in Nepal, he was brought here to integrate with other tigers. Unfortunately, Koshi has been very withdrawn, rarely leaving his corner and showing little interest in his surroundings. Until today, that is." Andrew explained how Koshi seemed to respond to Mandy's presence in a way he hadn't with anyone else. The staff had been struggling to lift Koshi's spirits, but Mandy's interaction had sparked a glimmer of hope. Connor and Andrea were intrigued but uncertain about what was being asked of them. "So, what are you requesting from us and our daughter?" Connor inquired, his voice tinged with apprehension. Andrew invited the family to his nearby office for a more private discussion. As they entered, Mandy continued to engage with the animals from the office window. Koshi, noticing her presence, rushed over to the glass, mirroring her movements and eagerly pressing his paws against it, just as he had earlier. Andrew outlined his proposal. He suggested that the family visit Koshi once a week, allowing Mandy to interact with him through the glass. Since Koshi had difficulty socializing with other tigers, Andrew believed that Mandy's regular visits could help him regain some of his confidence and joy. To facilitate this, he offered them lifetime passes to the zoo. After a brief discussion, Connor and Andrea agreed. 1 week later, they returned to the zoo, eager to see if Koshi would react as positively as he had before. Andrew greeted them with a smile, noting that Koshi had indeed become more lively and cheerful since Mandy's last visit. When Mandy approached the glass, Koshi rushed over to greet her, their connection as strong as ever. This heartwarming interaction was as magical as the first. For the following months, Mandy's visits became a cherished routine. When she was finally able to speak in full sentences, she shared her dream with her parents. "Daddy, Mommy, when I grow up, I want to be a zookeeper and play with Koshi all the time." The heartfelt moment brought tears to the eyes of her parents and the zoo staff. Mandy's natural affinity with animals was unmistakable, earning her the nickname the Tiger Whisperer from the zoo team. Mandy and Koshi's bond remained unbreakable. She not only helped Koshi, but also found immense joy in their friendship. Her dedication extended beyond Koshi, as she began assisting zookeepers with other animals, though Koshi always held a special place in her heart. Her dream of becoming a zookeeper was clear, driven by her love for Koshi and her passion for animals.